So you can have a rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, single motor, dual motor, plus pack, pilot pack, performance pack. This is starting to sound more complicated than Manos's Starbucks order. Oh, and it's a Swedish car, but made in China. Welcome to the baffling world of the Polestar 2, but don't worry, I'm here to demystify it and tell you why this is a used car bargain. But first, we're going to need some coffee. The Polestar 2 has been around since 2020, so unbelievably was one of the very first cars we actually tested on this channel. I remember being excited because it was a proper rival to the Tesla Model 3. And even back then, people wanted an alternative, although not necessarily for the same reasons as now. It's a bit of a mashup between Scandinavian design and Chinese EV tech, with a style which is kind of halfway between an SUV and a saloon. Now, one of the big attractions was the slightly raised ride height, which makes it look a bit more like SUV-like, and the fact that it has a hatchback rather than a boot. Now, that's quite a big bonus if you like to do lifestyle things like cycling or having children. Now, you can get one for as little as £12,000, not bad. If you want to splash out a bit more, you can get a 3-year-old car, which is going to cost you less than 20k. Now that's a little bit cheaper than the equivalent Tesla Model 3, but that's not the only reason it's an attractive proposition. Stay with me. But first, let's take a trip down memory lane. So the earliest cars, they came in single motor or dual motor guises. The single motor had front wheel drive and the 2-motor model had all-wheel drive, and that battery capacity was either 64 kilowatt or 78 kilowatt hour. And the bigger one is called the long range. Now, when they were new, the official figures suggested that you could go nearly 400 miles in the long range single motor. It was a record at the time. It hit the headlines. Well, on electrifying.com at least. Even the small battery versions could manage around 300 miles, depending on the spec. Now, the 2-wheel drive Polestar 2, still with me, has a horsepower of 220, plenty in the real world, but the twin, 408 horsepower, or a daft 469 horsepower with the performance pack. I mean, I say daft, but in my view, there's no such thing as too much power, is there? Am I right? Ah, the performance pack. We must discuss. Now bear with me because this is a bit complicated too. On the first cars, it was an upgrade which gave you more power. Race car style adjustable dampers, Brembo brakes, large 20-inch wheels, and some gold-coloured trim on the brake calipers, seatbelts and valve caps. Interesting. Later on, you could buy the power upgrade as an over-the-air update, which is a bit nuts, really. I mean, to think, those of us who remember where you had to change exhausts and air filters to get more power. Now you just do it with an app. Now, just to confuse things even more, I told you you'd need coffee for this review. Stay with me, though. There was a big refresh in 2023 when the 2 had some massive changes under the skin. It looked almost the same though, but the single motor went from front wheel drive to rear wheel drive and everything got bigger. We're talking bigger batteries, more power, extra range, oh, and faster charging too, up to a maximum of 205 kilowatts. This was not a little facelift. This was a proper overhaul and we loved it. Now, the later 2023 cars offer the best buys now, just because they're a lot better to drive, with the difference in the single motor being especially noticeable. This, however, is a dual motor, but I take that if I had to. Now, if you're going second-hand, it is still just as important to take a look inside. What do we think? It's minimalist like the Tesla, but I think it feels a higher quality. They've paid more attention to the design. They haven't just forgotten about it. And there's various options for the trim and upholstery, including a white option, which is going to get grubby very quickly. Just stay well away from that. You'd be completely mad. No white interiors. Not for me anyway. But what you should do is look out for the cars with the extra pilot pack or the plus pack. So the pilot pack has nothing to do with flying whatsoever, but what it does do is that it adds adaptive cruise control with steering assistance, a 360-degree camera, non-negotiable for me, blind spot information system and pixel LED headlights, which is nice to have, right? Now the plus pack, oh, that's the stuff you can see, like this, the panoramic roof, like this, the Harman Kardon sound system, like these, the electric front seats. It also has the energy-saving heat pump, the LED front fogs, and a powered tailgate, which you very rarely use. But all of that was £4,000 as an option when new, so it's going to be a bonus to have. Plus, on every Polestar, you get this, of course, a very nice big central display screen. It's got Google built into it, so it works really well, just like Tesla. You also get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and there are apps like Waze and YouTube, so you can have lots of fun with it. Now, here is a little tip for you. When you buy your second-hand car, make sure you get given all sets of keys, because replacements are very, very expensive. So if there are two to have, make sure you get them both. Colour coordinated beanie to seatbelt, check. This doesn't come with the performance package, just to be clear. Seatbelts do though. Right, let's take this little beauty for a test drive and remind ourselves of just how wonderful it is to drive, because it really is wonderful. Now, this is the all-wheel drive version, so it's probably quick. I'm loving it. Having said that, the single motor cars aren't exactly slow, especially the newer rear-wheel drive models. There is plenty of fun to be had with those. Now, 0 to 60. It's anywhere between just over 4 seconds to about 7.2. So with that in mind, yes, the Tesla is still going to disappear into the horizon like it's late for a SpaceX launch. But honestly, if you think you need more acceleration than 4 seconds to 60, my advice would be to stick to driving on a racetrack. I think that's more than enough on Great British roads, don't you? Now, here's a tip for you. If you have decided to go for the big wheels and the fancy dampeners in the performance pack, the ride does get a bit firmer. Like, you're gonna know where most of the potholes in Britain are kind of firm. So if that doesn't sound as appealing, I would recommend that you go for the smaller wheels, because then you're gonna get a slightly comfier ride and a bit more range, which is kind of a win-win, isn't it? Now, when it comes to running costs, insurance is usually cheaper than a Tesla, which is good. However, it's still quite a high insurance group. So if you're a younger driver, or if you have to insure a younger driver, then check before your premium attempts to take out a mortgage on your behalf. Now, while we are talking about cover, Polestar, they will give you 3 years and 60,000 miles of warranty on the car and 8 years for the battery, which is maybe a bit stingy when some Chinese and Korean brands actually hand out lifetime warranties and fruit baskets. I exaggerate for effect, but if you are buying from a dealer, make sure you get some good cover thrown in. And if you are buying direct from Polestar, make sure you get a minimum of 24 months. Right, we've got to talk about battery degradation, because a lot of the Polestars have been used as company cars, which means they will have done lots of miles and rapid charging along the way. But our friends in the trade say the batteries tend to hold up well, with most having a health score north of 95% at the 3-year 30k miles mark. If you do have a look at electrifying.com, the used car marketplace, you will see our preferred dealers and Polestar's official outlets, which include independent battery checks, so you can check the battery condition before you buy. Now, mechanically speaking, the only thing I've actually heard of are creaky suspension top mounts. To be honest, it's more annoying than dangerous, but it's worth listening out for when you're doing a test drive. So, should you buy a used Polestar 2? Absolutely! I think this is one of the best value used electric cars out there right now. I get it though, it can be rather confusing with all the different motors and the annual updates, but hopefully this has provided you a little bit of clarity. Personally, I think the best value model has to be the single motor, 78 kilowatt hour long range. Write that down. It has an average selling price of just under £20,000, and I think this model will offer a nice balance of range and performance. Maybe if you can, try and find one with the Plus pack. Go on, treat yourself. Also, if you can stretch to slightly more, or maybe you don't mind a few more miles, then the 23 model cars are going to be better to drive and have even longer range. Hopefully, all of this has been helpful. If we have missed anything, or I have confused you even further, pop your questions in the comments below. We are always here to help. Thank you for watching, and do remember to subscribe to Electrifying.